notes? Oh, my notes. I haven't got them. They're on the floor. So, hi everybody. I can't see anybody, which maybe that's a good thing. So I'm Meg Peppin. I met Steve through Twitter, through Doug Shaw through Twitter, through a period of not knowing a little bit about what my work was all around. So I think I've been through quite a few transitions through connecting myself to different people that I didn't know, moving out of my comfort zones and doing different things. And one of the things I like about Twitter is the not knowing. So I don't have lists, I don't organise anything, I don't look at it every day. I did at first. But what I do is sometimes I dip in and I have a look and I see what's going on. And sometimes it's a really interesting conversation. Sometimes there's a bit of an argument. I seem to manage to sort out any shitty stuff. And whenever it was, I saw Steve's tweet about not knowing, and having changed quite a lot in my work, I think, over the last few years, to the extent where I often turn up to do work with groups and organisations without having too much of a plan, and having been feeling this compulsion that I had to really plan everything, and I had to really know. So if somebody asked a question, I would have to know. And it is quite liberating to start realising, to let go of that need to know. So when I saw Steve's call out for speakers, I was really drawn to it. And actually, I don't really like conferences very much. I mean, if they pay me to do something, I'm probably grateful. Because I believe that when we go to conferences, often, not always, but often somebody else is doing the thinking for us. You know, and with technology and access to so much information, we can do quite a lot of data and content curation for ourselves, whether we call it that or not. I think we do. And so when I go to conferences, the bit I really love is the bit where you find somebody else that you disagree with, that you agree with, that you find something in common. So I really love this idea of not being a sage on the stage. For various personal reasons, I have done no preparation. So I thought I'd just, why am I sharing that? I'm feeling a bit vulnerable because I would normally have some narrative that I'd worked out, and I don't have that. So I'm going to rely on you to help me a bit more than I was going to. And the thing that came to mind, what's your reaction to that? It's me, I'm a little person. Fabulous. It might a bit of algebra, A plus B equals C. But when it came to the calculus, right, that's where something went wrong for me. And I might come back to that at the end. There's somebody here that I know very well, unexpectedly all of my life. And in some ways she might know a bit about this. So I really struggled with the calculus all my life. I've asked so many people. So I said, Ben, tell me, can you tell me what calculus is? And he's looking at me, it's like, oh, ask you Meg, no, she's being funny. She had last one. He said, I could tell you. He said, do you really want to know? I said, no, it's okay, darling. And then my brother-in-law, who's really, really smart and clever about all this stuff, bought me a book, which is going to be one of my things I bought today. And I thought, if I have nothing else to do, I shall read you a chapter from Duncan's book about calculus. Then you might get educated as well. And I can't find that because life has been a bit disrupted. I googled, what is the calculus and why does it matter? Anybody want to stab at how many pages came up? 25 million. And there's quite a lot of papers arguing for calculus and arguing against. So what I would really like to do today is to have a conversation with all of you about these three questions. And I feel like I want to sort of Edwin Starr it, calculus, what is it good for? As far as I'm concerned, at 56, absolutely nothing. But then I think my work is done. So what is it good for? So I would really like to have a conversation with all of you about calculus. And I'll tell you a little bit more about why it hurts when we finish. What is it? Why does it matter? And how can I utilise it? This is a genuine question. So it's genuinely not a provocation. I don't know. I did do some reading, and I sort of found quite a good reason for it. But still, for me, as a person who went through the education system, these questions are still... I've done lots of different things. I left school at 15. I've studied, I've got my qualifications and all of that stuff, and then something like this, which seems to be a fundamental principle of physics. I've read so much and I don't get it. So the invitation is for you to create a small group. That group could be one person and their phone. It could be 5 people and their phones or no phones. To pick one of those questions and to have a bit of a discussion together for 20 minutes, how long can I have? For a few minutes, and to see whether or not there's a way that we can think about this together. What is my aim for this is to maybe get some insight about the calculus. And I have a fantasy that there might be somebody here who could say, Meg, I'm going to come and help you. I know what it is. What else is matter? I know why it matters, and I know how you can use it. Was I supposed to use that all the time? Can you all hear me? Yeah. Would you prefer me to Mike? So my fantasy is that somebody might say, actually, I can come and, I can really eloquently articulate in, I don't know, maybe 3 sentences, some of these questions that you have. But it's a genuine inquiry. I genuinely would like to hear where you get to in your own inquiry. So would you like to take 5 minutes, 3, 4 minutes, something like that? I'm checking the time, actually. Am I all right? That means, I've got 12. Have I done 12? Have I got 12? I've got 12. So maybe 3 or 4 minutes, something like that, to have a discussion with each other about any of those questions or your own experience. You might all be the same as me. I know I've got a paper I can read. Looks like we might all learn something. So, do you want to do that for 7 minutes? Kate's got the timer up, so I'll call time for you. Genuinely interested to hear where that conversation took people. So now I don't know, I haven't really thought this through, so we might need a mic, or you might... I'm using a mic now because I know they're recording. But before I was projecting my voice and people heard. So perhaps if you could do the same, or we can pass the mic. So there are 3 questions there, or there might be another question or thought that is different to those that you would like to share. But I'd love to hear something. Anybody? Please. Do you want to? Okay.
So I don't need to. So we were talking, Geeta and I were talking about calculus, and for me the most interesting thing that came up was something around vulnerability. So I'll just own my own vulnerability around it. And what I realised was that when I saw that word, there was something there about an understanding of what clever is and whether I'm in that club. So
What clever is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to add anything to that?
Because there is a sort of clever club of this stuff, I think.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it belongs to a kind of clever clogs club that I've distanced myself from, and it brought, like, just seeing your slide before brought up horrible memories from school. So I was a bit of a geek at school, but maths and physics was just not my thing. So yeah, and all sorts of stuff came up for me, like on the one hand wondering whether calculus is actually really philosophical and I'd love it, or is it this is the right way and I'd hate it. So yeah.
And I think it's so interesting to hear you reflect that. And maybe I will get a chance to read a couple of things to you all, but I think there is a view that it's a philosophical, there's something about it which fits that. Has anybody else got anything that they thought about they'd like to share?
So I did have an answer, but now I'm going to be very unpopular with these two because I will be part of the Clever Clogs Club. So I'm now going to change my answer to say it's actually a shade of Farrow and Ball paint. It isn't actually. So, but Nick actually helped me with this, and he said, based on a load of mathematical guff that I gave him, was that this is a way of explaining lines that aren't straight.
What, you mean curves? So do we need the calculus to explain curves? Like that's high, that's low. This is round. Is this being filmed? It's totally up for bed. It's a bit of stand-up about boobs.
So,
Okay.
I'm up here, sorry. What I happen to know is I'm an astro geek. I care about
Ooh.
stuff in space. So I watch programs like Cosmos that Neil deGrasse Tyson did. And what is it? Is it's all Newton's fault. Because he had to invent calculus to show the orbit of planets through space and the inverse square proportional law. But it does come back to that clever clog stuff. And I was just thinking this, watching, what's he called? The guy from Top Gear, that isn't anymore, doing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, talking about general knowledge.
There are other things.
Yeah, and it just dawned on me, general knowledge is just specific knowledge that some people happen to know. And, you know, some people happen to know about maths, some people happen to know about knitting, some people happen to know about helicopters, and, you know, it's all just specific knowledge, isn't it?
So do you know who that bloke was? I mean, how did you invent something that nobody can understand? I don't mean you,
Isaac Newton.
Yes, him.
Well, he basically did it to annoy another guy.
He discovered it, a natural property of the world. I don't know what that means.
No, he invented calculus. He invented.
He discovered it, and then he made it look like the previous slide. Why? I'm feeling happy endorphins, because I think, why does it matter? Got pretty well covered there. And thank you, I appreciate how elegantly you articulated that. Would you be my friend? Is this somebody I know? Oh, okay.
We have decided that we have never knowingly had calculus.
Oh, here we are.
I just found myself not knowing, not caring, and that's fine. Happy in my inexpertise.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Does that sound a bit smug?
It's like the Twitter, innit? It's like my mum. The internet. So you're feeling concerned for me. Look, I'm a good hugger, so if you feel concerned for me, please feel free to hug. I know I'm a good hugger. I got told it this morning in the hospital. So I'm looking at Kath's timer, so it's probably good to bring this to an end with that story, which is, I have to say, to start off, I got here late, and I was saying to Steve, I wonder if there's anybody I know in the audience, apart from two people that I knew were going to be here, and a really old, well, she's not old in age, but Isabel's here, and Isabel's my big sister's best friend, so she knew me as a baby, so I'm all reassured that Isabel's here, although I can't see her. Now, hi, thank you. So we went to the same school, although she was one of the big girls. I was the naughty girl at school, because I think that the education system didn't suit me. One of my friends later trained as an adult educationist and said, I didn't see her for 15 years, and she said, now I know why you were difficult at school, Megan, you had special needs. I took it as a compliment. Think a bit differently, maybe. So the way that I would make sense of what I was learning, so things that I had maybe a natural ability for, or an innate ability, if those things exist, or what was valued at home, were writing and drawing and dancing and music and all those things. And I really loved maths. I remember learning my times table and learning algebra, and then something happened sort of around about 13 or 14, possibly hormonal. But a teacher whose name I won't mention, but who we had a maths teacher at that school that was a bully.
And I was removed from that class because he bullied somebody, and he wasn't going to bully me, but he was bullying somebody who was very vulnerable, and I got removed out of that class. And I went into another class, and we had a supply teacher, and I asked her these questions, and it was a genuine question, and she sneered at me. So it still hurts. I'm not going to rustle up a tear, whoever asked that question. And somehow, as a young person, something got deposited in me, which was turned me away from maths. And I've always really I admire you and your lovely astrophysics geekiness. I think it's lovely, and your clever, amazing description of the properties. And I've experienced a barrier to some learning because of maybe more than one experience. So that's why it matters to me, and I think I have really appreciated your sharing of we have no calculus through to this is why it matters in terms of mapping how the moon works and how does that work with periods and things. So I think I'm done, and I really appreciate your attention and your involvement, and I'm really excited to be here for the rest of the afternoon.